Hello everyone, it is Cappy here, back on the Cappy Developing channel with part 2 on how to create your own incremental. Now as I just said, this is part 2, so if you haven't already, go down in the description to watch part 1, as if you haven't, then you're going to be a little confused on what I'm doing. Now before we actually get into adding new things, new upgrades, new UI, stuff like that, I actually want to clarify or change something that we did in the first episode, which is how I actually managed the upgrade information. So you can see here, I had base price, increment, max upgrades here, but then I also had it in the scrolling frame down here. Now, realistically, this is fine, but for some new Roblox Studio users, it may be a bit confusing to reconfigure each value in each place, so they might forget. So let's actually go inside our local script here, purchase handler, and then let's go down. Okay, so we have our base price, we have our increment, our max upgrades here. So that's great. So now we can scroll down to where we fire our server right here, event fire server. It should be on line 63 for you. If you don't find it, then just do Control F and then look up event fire server, and then you should find it somewhere in there. Once you've done that, you can see these two brackets here. Inside those brackets, you just want to type in base price, comma, space, increment, comma, space, max upgrades. Now, it may have to be different wording if your variables up here are not base price, increment, and max upgrades. But now that we've done that, now what we can do is we can go back up here into our passive income purchase in our server script service inside our upgrade purchases. We can open that up, and then where we get our server event, so event.allenServerEvent, there we can go into our function, and then after player we can do comma base price, comma increment, and then comma max upgrades. And then now we should be able to delete this part, and then we also should be able to delete these extra configurations right here. Now let's try this out, see if it works. Now it does seem to work, so that is a good thing. Now let's move on to actually working on the game. Now the first thing we're going to do is actually add a new upgrade, give the players a bit of a variety to choose from. So how we can do this is we can actually just duplicate this frame right here, the passive income upgrade, by doing Control D, and let's rename it to something like cooldown upgrade. So we're going to make an upgrade that makes the cooldown for money faster, or less. So now let's just reposition this to your liking. Now that you've repositioned it, we actually have to change some of the info here so it doesn't say passive income boost, etc, etc. So let's go down into our amount text. Actually no, into our info text. We can change it, put in the text something like decreases the money income cooldown by 0.005 0.05 seconds. Now you can obviously change this to however much you'd like it to be, but that's how much it's going to be for me. And then we can change the title to something like lower cooldown upgrade. Anything you'd like. This one is a bit different, but yeah, let's just go for that for now. Now let's go into our purchase handler, and then before we actually do that, let's go into our configuration and let's change the base price and all the other prices if you'd like. So I'm gonna make the base price 50, make the increment 17.5, and then make the max upgrades 15. I think that's a bit balanced, but we can change that in the future, of course. Now we can go into our script. We can change this purchase passive income event. We can actually go into our replicate storage, duplicate that event, do cooldown, lower cooldown if you'd like, or name it whatever you think is best. So now we have an event called lower cooldown in our upgrade events folder in replicate storage. So just rename this to whatever you named it. So for me it's lower cooldown. Everything else up here should be the same, except for this right here, local upgrade. So instead of it being passive income, we actually have to go into our upgrade script in server script service, copy all of this, go down 1 or 2 lines, and then let's rename this. So we can do cooldown. I'm just gonna name it cooldown. Name it that for each of these. And then once you've done that, change the name to cooldown. Now that we've got that down, let's go back into our script. Let's actually close this script first so we know that we're in the correct script. I will not be doing that. Let's go back here, scroll back down, passive income, rename that to cooldown, and now the base of it is set up. Now, if I'm correct, that's pretty much all you have to actually do for this script, because everything else has been copied down and all set up to your liking. Now, if you'd like to make any adjustments, feel free to, but now we just have to create the server script. So let's go into our upgrade purchases folder in server script service. Let's duplicate the passive income purchase, being it something like cooldown purchase. I accidentally spelled that wrong. I'm going to rename that really quick. Close your passive income purchase so you don't get confused. Also close any other unneeded scripts. Now in here, let's do the same thing. Rename or change this from purchase passive income to lower cooldown or whatever your event is called. Everything else here should stay the same. Okay, go here, change passive income to cooldown or whatever your upgrade is called. And yeah, now let's test this out, see if it works. Alright, now that I've accumulated some money by hacking it in, let's see. Have our cooldown value open. Click on the cooldown upgrade. And as you can see, it did go up. Let's make sure nothing else went up. And it did take away our money, so nice. Now that we can actually purchase the new upgrade, we have to actually make the upgrade work. So let's go into our leader stats script. And let's go down to our while true do statement. Let's add in a new variable called local cooldown. And then let's initially have it set as 1. But then we can actually add a variable on top of that, which is local cooldown upgrade is equal to player wait for child upgrades wait for child cooldown or whatever your upgrade is called. Then we do cooldown minus and then brackets cooldown upgrade dot value times 0.00 or 0.05. Now change this 0.05 to whatever you want the cooldown to be subtracted by each time, or for every upgrade they own. So now if we, for instance, copy this code down here that I've already input, put it into our server console, tier 15, we should be earning money a bit faster. I'm actually gonna add it to 50, see if it actually shows a difference. Now it does not seem to be showing a difference, so let's see what the problem is. Alright, so minus cooldown upgrade value times 0.05. Now this should work. Oh, I see the issue. We did not put the cooldown variable into our task.wait. So remove the 1 and then insert cooldown. So now if we go back in here, we paste in the snippet of code, we should be okay. That definitely works. You can try it yourself. If you don't have a console, you could of course just go into your player in your explorer, go into upgrades, and then if you lower this, it should work. Okay, it does not work since it's on the client, so just purchase, and it won't even let me purchase it, so I think we broke the game. Now it seems like we've run into an issue with this system. Now here you can see the cooldown upgrade system, and if you saw in the last video, little snippet, I tried to purchase it again and I said I think I broke the game, but it seems like I broke the game. Wait, that means the same thing. Anyways, you guys get the point. We need to fix something. So let's go back into our purchase handler and let's see what the issue is. Now as I scroll through, I don't really see a current issue, so let's keep scrolling. And it does not seem like there is still an issue. So let's check our configurations. Let's make sure everything is correct. My configuration, 15. Let's make sure everything else is good. Increment, everything else. Increment, base price. Alright everyone, I am back, and I am back with a fix. So it seems like the problem that is occurring is something with this cooldown check. Now realistically, we don't even need this cooldown check here. So let's actually remove this. And let's just make it so instead of adding a cooldown value, so let's also remove this cooldown variable up here. Let's go down here, and then when it's clicked, after this happens, we can just do button.interactable equals false. Then we're going to wait 0.4 seconds so hackers or players can't spam it. And then button.interactable equals true. And then let's actually remove this. So now these are the only requirements. This is what your new code should look like. Every cooldown element should be removed from up here. And let's actually do that in our passive income upgrade as well. So let's go into that purchase handler. Remove the cooldown variable, remove the cooldown check function. Then let's go down here, remove all that, remove this, and then do same thing, button.interactable equals false, then test.wait for 0.4 seconds, button.interactable equals true. Now let's see if it works. Our script does seem to be working now. So let's move on to the next part. Now, ever since you started watching these 2 tutorial series videos, I'm sure there's one thing that you've been wondering. How can I save my players' data? Well, now we're actually going to be going through how to save data. We're actually going to be using a documentation tutorial done by this guy named ExtremelyRareNoob. Huge thanks to him. His documentation tutorial link will be in the description if you'd like to follow along. But let's start. Now, the first thing you need to do is go into your game settings, go into your security, and enable studio access to API services. This basically allows Roblox to save data and stuff like that, and it's something you need if you want to save data. Now, into our already current script for our leader stats, open it up if you haven't already. Go to the very top, go before the game, click enter twice. Do local data store equals game get service data store service. Then let's go back into our documentation tutorial, scroll down, let's do this variable right here. So let's do local data store, let's rename this to local data store service. And then we can rename this local data store equals data store service get data store, and let's name it something like leader stats. Now that we've done that, let's go back into the tutorial. We've already done this before. Now we need to get our player, and we also need to get the data. So let's copy this. Let's actually scroll down a bit more. You can see this whole entire thing right here. Now what we can do is copy this here, go back down, do copy here. Now local player ID is equal to player underscore space dot player dot user ID. Then local data is equal to my store, which we actually want to rename data store get async player ID. Now if data, which is basically saying if there's data, then rename this to cache, and then rename this to gems. Now if there is no data, if no data is found, then you want to do cache.values equal to 0 and gems.values equal to 0. Now if your incremental has a different starting point, then just change the 0 to whatever the starting point for cache and gems is. Now we still have our while true do loop down here, which should still work. So we're going to actually check that once we've finished. Now we have to do a game.players.removing event. So this is when a player leaves, it's going to save our data. So let's go down here, game.players.player.removing connect function. Let's go back into our thing. Okay, it calls for the player. So let's go there, player. Click the enter key so it adds an end statement. Now, local data to be saved is equal to all of our data. So go here, local data to be saved. You can actually remove this enter if you'd like. I don't really like to have empty spaces like that. You see it already has capital C for coins, capital G for gems, so just rename coins to cash. Player.leaderStats.cash.value. And then yeah, that's pretty much it for this single part. Then below that, copy this snippet. Again, it's in the description. Click the enter key once or twice. Rename my store to data store. Set async player ID and data to be saved, which basically is just saying to set the information of the player to their data. And then if it's a success, then print data saved. And if it's not a success, then print data failed to save. Now let's see if this all works. Now we do see that our cache automatic system still works. Now let's see if it actually saves. Okay, it says data saved in our output. If you do not have the output, then go to view, then go to this little button that says output, that's to the right of asset manager. Then you can enable that. Now if we join back, we should still have our data, which we do. Now that everything is working, we can do this for our upgrades. Now to do this for our upgrades, it's pretty simple. Let's just copy these first two lines of code up here, go into our upgrades, do enter again, paste it. Instead of data store equaling leader stats, we can just name it something like upgrades. Now once we've done that, let's go back into our leader stat script. Let's copy all this, enter, rename that to passive income, rename that to cooldown. Do the same over here. Go down, same thing, passive income, and cooldown. Now that we've done that, let's go back into our leader stats. We don't need our while true statement since that's just to give us money passively. Then we can do our game.players.player removing event. So let's copy all that. Go all below all that, enter, paste. Then rename cash to passive income, rename gems to cooldown. And then instead of it being .leader stats, it'll be .upgrades, .passive income. Same thing down here, .upgrades, .cooldown. And that's about it. Now if we scroll, let's just make sure, yep, passive income, cooldown. Now let's make sure these save. So if we go into our player, we go into upgrades, we see right now we have 0 passive income. So if we click on this, then we are earning +1 passive income, and we have 1 here. And if we click stop, you can see we got 2 data save alerts. If we go back in, we can now see we already have 1 out of 50, and it saved our cache. Now that we have data stores and a new upgrade, I think we are missing something. For the last 2 episodes, we've had a currency called gems, but there's currently no use to it. So let's change that. Let's add a rebirth system. Now, the first thing we need to do is actually make a part or a board for the rebirth. So let's do that really quick. Now, like always, my board is not the best, and let's actually make sure it's anchored, but it's the best I can do for now. Now, let's add a surface GUI to it. So let's go into our storage UI. Let's add a new surface GUI. Let's set the adorny to this part. Then let's add a frame. Then we have to actually put the frame in the correct spot. So let's go back to our surface GUI. Let's go down to our face. Let's keep flipping it till we find the correct spot, and there we go. Now let's create our frame. Let's make it bigger. Let's resize it. Let's change its position. So yeah, I'm going to do all that right now, and then I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Now that we have our frame, we can either keep it like this as a white frame, or we can change its transparency to 1, and now we can just write over it. So we can actually rename this frame to anything we want, or you can just keep it as frame. I'm going to keep it as frame. Let's add a text label for the title. Let's rename the title or the text to Rebirth. Maybe if you want, you can add an image. I'm going to add that later. Let's rename this text label to title. And yeah, let's resize it, reposition it. Now that we've done that, there's actually a few things that we haven't done yet, which is first make the text scaled. And then if you'd like to, remove the background. Then I'm also going to change the color to a nice white. Add a UI stroke so it stands out. Maybe change it to 2. Add a different font. For me, I'm going to use Fredoka 1 because that's what I usually use. And now we have that. Now, like I said, I'm going to add a image label. If you'd like to do that as well, you can. I will actually add that later off camera as I go through my files and stuff, and it's just a whole mess. But now let's add a information thing. So let's go down. Actually, no, let's duplicate this, rename it info, and let's reposition it, resize it, and yeah. Now that you've done all that, we have to change the information. So let's rename it to rebirthing. Make sure I spell that right. Rebirthing requires a minimum of 500 hash. And in exchange for a rebirth, you will receive X gems, which can be used for gem upgrades. Now you can obviously call your rebirth or give it any info you'd like, but that's what I'm going to put. X is going to stand for whatever the payout is, which we're going to script in a bit. Now that we've done that, let's actually space it out a bit. So I'm going to make the position a bit lower. So I'm going to change it to like 100. Just kidding. I have to make it higher, 50, like that. Now let's create a button. Now I'm going to fast forward and do this, and you guys can customize your button however you want. Now that you've gotten your rebirth button to your liking, let's actually overview my preferences first. So I named it rebirth button. I gave it a UI corner of 0.05 and 12. I gave it a text stroke and a border stroke. I changed the color for green as a placeholder. And then I made the font Fredoka 1. I made the text color white, and then I made the strokes black. Now let's actually also add a payout text. So let's actually just duplicate our title. Then let's just position it a bit further down. So maybe like 250. All right, maybe like 350. All right, maybe like 500. All right, maybe like 550. Oh, that's 5,550. Okay, maybe a bit lower. There we go. I'm going to recolor it, so it's going to be a little blue. Like, okay, that looks horrible. Maybe okay, we're just gonna keep it white for now. You can do however you'd want with it. Now we can just name it like amount or like payout, and then change the text to like 25 gems or X gems as a placeholder. So now that we have that, our decoration, or the frame itself is ready. Now we have to actually script it. So now that we have our rebirth board set up, we have to actually make it work. So let's go ahead and do that. Now before we do that, I'm actually going to rename this surface UI that manages the rebirth board. I'm going to rename it to something like rebirth board UI. Just, that's my own personal preference. But now let's go into our rebirth button and let's insert a local script. We can call it something like, let's say, rebirth manager. If you want to keep it as local script, that's your choice. Now let's write down our variables. So local button equals script.parent. So this is for our rebirth button, which we're going to need that variable later on. Then let's get our leader stats. So local leader stats is equal to, actually we need to get our player first. So let's add our player variable. So local player is equal to game players.local player. Let's go back down here. Local leader stats is equal to player wait for child leader stats, and then wait for child leader stats. Now let's do local cache is equal to leader stats wait for child cache. Now let's make sure we spelt it correctly. Let's go back into our leader stats. Yep, cache is spelled with a capital C. Then let's get our gems variable. So now local gems is equal to leader stats wait for child gems. Now that we have these, we actually have to make a payout system so the game knows how much to pay out the player. But first, let's actually get our text variables for the rebirth board. So let's just go under the button so it's more organized. So actually, I'm gonna put this up here as well, this leader stats thing, so it's all organized with the player and so on and so on. Okay, now I can go back. Local payout text. So this text right here, the payout, which is this, is equal to script.parent.parent, which is this frame. Then we're going to wait for child payout. Now let's do local info is equal to script.parent.parent, which is the frame, wait for child info. Now what we're going to do next is create a payout variable, which is going to be the base payout for a rebirth. So let's create that variable. Local payout is equal to, let's say, 5 gems. And then local base price is equal to, let's say, 100, which is going to be 100 cash. And then, yeah, that's pretty much all we have to do. We could do this as a int value or a number value inside our frame, but I feel like that's not really needed, as it's pretty easy. It's not that many variables, so let's just keep it like this. If you want to change it yourself, I think you guys should be able to do it. If not, I may do like an extension video with extra information. But let's continue. Let's create a function to update our payout. So local function update payout. These two abbreviate colon thingies. And then we can do payout is equal to 5, which is our base, plus, let's do these, cash, divided by 100, I guess. So for every 100 cash you have, you should get 1 gem, if I'm correct. And then we can do math dot huge, or math dot, let's see here, math dot, here, let's open our documentation, as it's been a while since I've done math related things. So this doesn't seem correct. So we're actually just going to leave it like this for now, and then we'll update if it gives us a bunch of decimals later. Now it does seem like I accidentally did the insert thing, so I'm going to remove that. There we go. Alright, so our payout is equal to that. Now let's actually do our button function. But before we do that, actually, I apologize. Let's add a remote event in replicated storage called Rebirth event right there. So that will handle our rebirthing. So mouse button one click connect function. Enter. Let's do, yes, this AI is kind of correct. If cash.value is equal to base price is equal to base price, then let's actually create our remote event variable. So local event is equal to game.replicated storage wait for child rebirth event, then event fire server, and then we want to send it the payout and the base price. Now let's actually, I apologize. Let's actually update this base price so that that's also at a price variable. So local price is equal to, I guess, Actually, okay, we're gonna forget that. We're just gonna do local price. It's gonna be one variable. Then we're gonna create a function, local function, update price. Then we're gonna do price is equal to 100, which is the starting value, plus gems.value. Let's say for every 5 gems you have, it's plus 1. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. So what am I talking about? 5, for every gem you have, let's increase it by, let's say, 250. Now, obviously, you can change this to your discretion, I guess. Whatever you'd like it to be, that's completely up to you. But I'm going to have it like that. And then, since we renamed it to price, it's no longer base price. We have to change it from if cash.value is equal to price, then. And I actually did it incorrect. It's not equal to. You want it to be greater than or equal to. Because then if it's equal to, then it's practically impossible to rebirth. So now we have this simple function to fire an event when you have more cash than the price. But what we actually have to do is also, when this button is clicked, you want to update price and update payout. Now we actually have to create some functions to update these texts right here. So let's do local function update payout text. We can do payout text is equal to payout. That is actually not correct. Okay, wait. Payout text dot text is equal to gems colon thing. Is it called a colon? Let's see. Colon. That is not what I meant. Alrighty. Gems, and then dot dot. The dot dot resembles that a variable is going to go after this. So then dot dot payout. And then that's pretty much it. That should work. And then another function to local function update info. Now, as we saw earlier, I put an X gems here. You obviously do not have to do this, but if you are doing it, then just go into your info text in Explorer, search in properties text, copy the text, go into your function update info, enter, do info, oh, I don't know why I named it info, I'm just gonna name it info text for my own liking. Infotext.text is equal to quotations, all of this, but then right here, add a quotation, delete that, instead of X gems, do dot dot payout dot dot boom boom. Now that should work. If it doesn't work, then we'll go on to that later. Now below all of this, we want to write some information so it updates our text and stuff. So down here we can do cash dot changed connect update payout, and then we can actually just copy that. This is how I'm going to do it, and then also update text. Actually, I feel like there's an easier way to do this. I feel like there is. Update payout text. So we're just gonna have it like this. I know there's a less messy way to do this. If you'd like to do that way, feel free to. What am I doing? We need to also update price, I'm sorry. And then we also have to update payout text. So cash.changed. Let's update payout text. Now just copy all this, click enter twice if you'd like, and then just change this to gems. Now we actually have to make the server side of this so we can actually subtract our information. So subtract whatever the price is, and then also give us some gems. So let's do that. So let's create a script in server script service. Call it something like Rebirth, maybe Rebirth handler, completely up to you. Create a variable for the event. So local event is equal to game dot replicated storage connect wait for child Rebirth event. Rebirth my bad, event dot on server event function. We want to get the player. We want to get the payout and the price. The payout and the price. Now let's see if this works by doing print payout and then print price. And then let's just, why not also print the player. So print player. Now if you don't want to test this, that's fine, but I'm going to change the price to 1 for the sake of waiting. So let's go into our game. Player 1 parsing. Okay, so we already have an error here. So looks like something with this is not working. So when parsing expression got malformed string. Alright, so let's see what the issue is. Okay, rebirthing requires a minimum of 500 cash in exchange for a rebirth. You will receive payout payout gems, which, oh, I see the issue at the end. Roblox automatically gives you 2 quotations when we only needed 1. So now that should work, and that did not work. Attempt to perform arithmetic div on instant and number. We try to do division. Oh, I see the issue here now. Alright, so we did not do cash.value. So actually go into here, and then we also need to do it, I think. Oh no, we did it down here as well. But that's all. Alright, now everything should work. Nice, no errors. Now it does show a big decimal like that, so we're actually going to fix that next episode if we do not have time this episode. But now let's rebirth. We do see our current payout, we do see the price, and we do see the person who fired the event. Now we're actually going to just, I think, we're not going to remove the price. We're going to, yes we are, no we're not. Alright, we're going to also do a price thing right here. So let's also go here, copy your payout text, maybe shrink it down a bit, maybe shrink it like 400, maybe like 100. Okay, that's 1000. 100. There you go. Position it correctly. I'm just going to make it a little goofy position because I don't want to have you guys wait again. Alright. It seems like my scripting skills, or my positioning skills, are not on my side today. Alrighty, let's just position this again. This is gonna have to do for now. Rename it to cost text x cash, or whatever your currency is called. Go back into here. Create a variable for your cost text, or local cost text equal to script.parent.parent, wait for child cost. Then let's do a function. Let's do it down here actually. Local function, update cost text, boom. Cost text is equal to payout dot cash, just like that. So now let's actually add another thing here. So gems.change connect update cost text, and then let's do it right here as well. Cash.change connect update cost text. And now we have a cost text that tells us the current cost. We did not do it correct, did we? Yeah, we actually accidentally used payout, not price. There we go. Alright, so the price should say 1, and now it says 100, because we did not do it. We did not change it here. Yeah, alright. But we know it works. We see, okay, it tells us our payout, tells us the price, tells us the player who fired it. So that means all things are working. So let's change this back to 100 or whatever it was for you by default. Now everything here should work, and now we can go into our server script again, and we can actually create our variables. So let's do local cache is equal to player wait for child leader stats wait for child cache. Then if you'd like, you can just copy all that, enter, boom, just change cache to gems, and then change cache over here to gems as well. And then let's actually do another if statement in case there's a hacker that fires the server instead of actually doing it. So let's do if cache.value is greater than or equal to price, then we can do cache.value is minus equal to, or is actually equal to 0 because it's a rebirth. And then we could do gems dot value is plus equal to payout. Now this should work, but what we're going to do also is inside of our mouse button one click, we're going to do button.interactable equals false, task.wait, let's do 0.3, and button.interactable equals true, just a little cooldown. Now if we go over here, everything seems to be working. By rebirth, I lost all my cash, and then I also gained gems. There's actually one thing we're forgetting. We're forgetting to wipe all of our data from the cooldown upgrade and from the passive income boost, because we don't want to keep those upgrades on rebirth. We want to remove those. So let's actually call those. So let's do local passive income VPG is equal to player wait for child upgrades wait for child passive income. We do local cooldown upgrade. Oh, I accidentally added a backslash. Is equal to player wait for child upgrades wait for child cooldown. And then we can just do here passive income upgrade.value is equal to 0. Cooldown upgrade.value is equal to 0. And now you can see that we have, well, I have to give it a bit because, oh my, that is a humongous boost. This is a very good animation pack. But let's just say, yeah, it works, okay? We're gonna do a little test just so we can make sure. Leader stats.cash.value is equal to like 10,000, I guess. It's gonna get erased anyways. Okay, let's go here. Boom. Alright. Let's do a rebirth. See, it works. We have 0 of each. And now we can confirm. Okay, I'm sorry. That this does work. Oh, well, voice crack there. But, oh my. This is... okay. Enough of the animation pack talk. But anyways, that is how you create a rebirth system in your incremental. Thank you all for watching. The next episode will feature things like gem upgrades, so you can actually use your gems. And then probably a new upgrade, probably some UI, maybe a counter at the top that shows your cash and your gems, stuff like that. So make sure to stay tuned. I'll see you all in a few days. Bye-bye.